With all the Harley Reid trade rumours going around this season, it's officially down to a two-team race on who can make a realistic trade that would benefit both parties. Let's talk about it. But first, let's quickly look at Harley and West Coast's situation. Harley's contract until the end of 2026, which would mean he would leave in free agency, but if he left at the end of 2025, he would have to be traded out. So West Coast's situation is trade him at the end of this season and potentially get a package of 2 first-round picks or more, or wait to the end of 2026 where he can leave in free agency and then will only receive 1 compensation pick. Now, 2 big reasons I think he's going to leave at the end of 2025 is because of Oscar Allen and the Tasmanian Devils. Now, the reason I say Oscar Allen is because he's already looking to leave the club. He's had meetings with Sam Mitchell and Hawthorn and potentially meetings with other clubs, and West Coast will receive a top 10 compensation pick for him. Now, the reason this is important is because if they get a compensation pick from Allen, 2 first rounders from a Harley trade, and then their own first round pick, that's 4 picks within inside the top 10, which could lead to a Richmond-like draft haul. And the reason I say Tasmania is because Tasmania coming into the draft in 2027 and will potentially have picks 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. So making the Harley Reid trade now, a year earlier, will keep them a year ahead of Tasmania and potentially see them having a Richmond-like rebuild. So if West Coast can play their cards right, they can potentially have 4 picks inside the top 10 in 2025 and potentially the first 3 picks, and then next year in the 2026 draft, pick 1 and potentially another pick inside the top 10. They lost Barris and Darling last season. They could potentially lose Oscar Allen this season, and Jeremy McGovern is 33 years old and who knows how much longer he has left. So yeah, they're in no man's land. They either got to gut the team now and restart, or be in absolute no man's land when Tasmania come in and they won't make the finals for another decade after Tasmania come in. Now, the first team Harley would fit perfectly into, who also has 2 first round picks they can trade for him, is Richmond. They obviously had the big draft class last year with Layla, Smiley, Trainer and another bunch of guys, and they are already exceeding expectations in the rebuild. They are already in front of West Coast when it comes to their team's rebuild. And with rumours going around that this year's draft class is weaker than the last 2, I think 2 first round picks for a potential superstar in Harley Reid would definitely be worth it and beneficial for both parties. Richmond have 2 first round picks, one being North Melbourne's pick, and that along with the Oscar Allen compensation pick could see them having 4 top 10 picks, which should lead to a Richmond-like draft haul like we saw last year. Now, the second potential team for a Harley Reid trade is Hawthorn. Now, the package they could offer up might not be as solid as Richmond, but it could be good enough to get Harley over the Hawks. Hawthorn have Carlton's first and second round pick this year, the first being potentially a top 5 pick. While that's obviously not as good as pick 2 and 3 from Richmond, they could chuck in next year's first round pick and also next year's second round pick to complete this trade. So that combined with the Oscar Allen compensation pick will see West Coast have 4 first rounders and 3 second rounders in the 2025 draft. And 2 more firsts and 2 more seconds in the 2026 draft, for a total of 6 firsts and 5 seconds over the next 2 seasons. So while not as good as Richmond's offer, losing him for 2 firsts and 2 seconds over the next 2 years is better than losing him for 1 first rounder in a compensation pick. So a Harley Reid trade to Hawthorn could see West Coast with pick 1 and 2 more top 10 picks and 2 more early second round picks in the 2025 draft. As we all know, Sam Mitchell was photographed sitting next to Harley Reid at Tom Barris's wedding in the off-season, and he's also good mates with Nick Watson. So when it comes to Hawthorn, yeah, they're probably at the top of the list right now with Richmond. And with Tasmania coming in 2027, if West Coast don't nail these next 2 drafts, they're going to be at the bottom of the ladder for another decade. But what do you think? Which trade would benefit West Coast the most? Let me know.